it's Curious, and it's time for On the Balcony Fantasy Story freaking nitpick time! Yay! God, I hope I don't burn another bridge. Well, I'm not gonna mention the guy who friggin' read this online story because I couldn't have thought of this in a million years, and I gotta admit, I was captivated. I was interested in the story, you know? And he read it well enough that, I don't know, it would have been a B grade book that I would have enjoyed reading. Like, I wouldn't say science fantasy, but just light modern fantasy literature, you know? And that would have been cool, you know what I mean? But I've read enough fantasy fiction, and I mean, I've read a lot of fantasy fiction, right? I've read fantasy, sci-fi, horror, thriller, anything that you can friggin' throw a friggin' role-playing game at, right? And three things stuck out as serious story flaws in his online story, you know? Now, okay, just to generally summarize the story real quickly. Guy's on a farm. Guy flunked out of college. Guy's not too happy. Guy's got kind of a stern dad, who's kind of got him goal-oriented to take over the farm. It's the last thing he wants. The farm's falling apart. It's got ancient tractors and squeaky doors. And, but otherwise it seems like he's got a pretty nice family, right? Well, while he was gone to college, an aunt came, an aunt passed away, and she had a mysterious trunk that the father forebodingly told his son to go haul up into the barn. Right? The loft. I guess that's where you store precious heirlooms that you want to be out to the frigging cold and weather and, and frigging elements, even though it's inside a barn. I don't know. Rot, I'm not sure about storing things in barns, but it seems to me that an attic might provide some protection, but a loft will just freaking leave things to rot. I could be wrong on that. I don't know. Maybe people store things in barns. Well, anyway, he gets up there. He has to talk to his friends. He's bored. He's got video games, but he's in the middle of nowhere. He's kind of embarrassed because he's one of the 3 people who went off to college in this freaking cow town, and he's the only one who dropped out. So he doesn't really talk to anybody, right? So, as the story progresses, he goes along, and even though his father warned him not to, he gets into the friggin' stuff his aunt had. All these small Chester drawers, or storage drawers. Mini steam baskets, or cabinets. Little treasure boxes, right? I mean, who couldn't resist the allure of little treasure boxes, all the same size, but of varying weights, Ooh, can we look at it anymore? Come on, Alright, we're biting, right? So, of course, he gets in, finds the typical occult stuff, the chalk, the cloth, and a mirror. Well, we go through this whole fairly standard, he's bored, but he starts a spell, a ritual, and once it's started, you better not quit, and in a lot of literature, that makes sense. You fudge the magic, you pay with an extra, hand out your forehead or something, or bring your face on backwards or something. But out from the mirror comes the friggin' demon. The trickster demon. Well, he gets this thing out the mirror, right? And friggin', what happens? He cold cocks the thing. I'm sorry, I've always had a problem with things dropping like humans. You know, I mean, first off, if the thing's this badass, right, and been around this long, you aren't gonna drop it unless it's faking. And there was no indication in the story that it was faking. It would be like trying to drop a pro wrestler. They're just gonna look at you. Even a skinny little pro wrestler, they've been dropped and freaking. They have so much martial and supernatural and special awareness that they're just gonna know. And there was no indication that this thing didn't know. It just got cold cocked, right? I mean, try smacking a cougar and see if you're gonna drop a cougar. With a haymaker. You'll end up with a nub. You know what I'm saying? Okay, that was problem one. I didn't buy that. Well, now the thing comes down with its Sonny Jim attitude and makes its introductions in fairly standard form. No big deal there, Not really too pissed off. It's kind of small. It's an impy thing after all. It's an evil, capricious trickster. But it makes do. So, the guys explain that he goofed the spell and that there's conditions. And the guy's like a facepalm moment. Forehead to friggin' palm. Oh, I flubbed. Okay. So what happens? He friggin' goes along and he friggin'. Wait, I'm gonna pause it there because I've got to do something. Well, anyway, right? So, he makes his introductions and, they set up the situation that's going on between them, the summoner and the summonee, and he can't send this thing back until he's bested him in a contest, right? So, I mean, this thing looks like a friggin', a cross between friggin' a guy in a top hat and friggin' an arachnid spider or something. It's got 8 legs and everything. So he mosey-ons into the house with it. Because he's bushed and he's going to get some sleep. I can't even sleep when I hear a friggin' door squeak or friggin' something. I hear the neighbors walk by outside. And after this traumatic thing of seeing something for the first time in the supernatural, he's going to friggin' tell it, oh yeah, go ahead and kick it over there and play on my laptop. Well, no, he didn't say. He didn't say anything. He just said, okay, Dowser, good night, I mean, you bring the thing in your room and you fall asleep? No. Get back in your mirror. Don't eat the cows. More like, I'd be like, hold on. I've got to go do something just for 1 second. And I'd be in the family car. The family could stay in there. I'd be heading back to college. Or Nigeria. I mean, anywhere. Timbuktu, get me the freaking half a rocket satellite. Like, get me the hell away. You can't outrun these things, but... No, I'm not going to drag some supernatural imp into my freaking bedroom to sleep. Who can fall asleep to that? And then further accentuate the point, guy wakes up in the morning and the thing's freaking sitting on the freaking edge of his bed. Good morning, Sonny Jim. No. I'm sorry. No. Then they have a game of trickstermanship, right? They all gotta trick each other for friggin' the deal of the friggin' contest for him to friggin', send it back. Now this guy is friggin' on a farm with 2 parents, and the father's already suspicious and warned him stay out of the trunk, so possibly he has some inkling of what his aunt might have been up to, especially since he wasn't there, and the freaking lady was probably in the freaking room summoning and ringing bells and calling Yagora and everything else, and freaking summoning freaking, who knows, Kumbaya somebody, doing freaking voodoo chants. I mean, so he puts these freaking gloves on and they stick at the end. If you're working with gloves, this is one of the tricks the evil guy did. how can you work with gloves and not notice that they stick on the end of your fingers? You know, I think it'd been more interesting if friggin' the gloves shrunk and you couldn't get them off. You know, or something. I don't know, but or I just I think that was a mistake too. Well, anyway, that's my review of this story. I don't know. These are the points I would have had a what the heck moment if I was reading it. There you go.